Have you ever had one of those moments in school that just sticks with you, branded into your memory? For me, it wasn't a triumphant sports victory or a heartwarming friendship. It was a cold, hard dose of humiliation, delivered by the one person who was supposed to inspire me, my high school art teacher, Mr. Harrison. It was my final year. The air was thick with the scent of oil paints, turpentine, and teenage anxiety. Art was my sanctuary, the one place where I felt I could truly be myself. I poured my heart and soul into my final project, a sprawling, ambitious canvas that I thought was my masterpiece. It was a surrealist landscape, filled with symbolism about my hopes and fears for the future. I was so proud of it. Judgment Day came. Mr. Harrison, a man with a perpetual frown etched onto his face, and a knack for crushing spirits, walked around the classroom, his gaze scanning each piece. He stopped in front of mine. The room fell silent. He squinted, tapped his chin, and then he let out this short, sharp laugh. It wasn't a kind laugh. It was a laugh that cut right through me. He turned to the class and said, "Now here, class, is a perfect example of what happens when ambition far outweighs talent." He pointed a long, bony finger at a detail I was particularly proud of. "This is just noise. There's no focus, no discipline. It's a mess." Then he looked directly at me, and his next words echoed in my head for years. "You know, some people are just not meant to be artists. Maybe you should consider a more practical career, like accounting." The class snickered. My face burned with a heat I can still feel today. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. I went home that day, tore the painting off its frame, and shoved it into the back of my closet. Mr. Harrison hadn't just criticized my art. He had judged my soul and found it lacking. I didn't pick up a paintbrush for a very long time after that. I believed him. Instead of art school, I went to a local college and majored in business. It was practical, just like he suggested. I got a stable job, paid my bills, and lived a life painted in shades of gray. But that creative spark, the one Mr. Harrison tried so hard to extinguish, never completely went out. It just flickered quietly in the background. Late at night, after long days of staring at spreadsheets, I'd find myself doodling on scraps of paper. The doodles turned into sketches, the sketches into more elaborate drawings. I started a secret Instagram account, a digital gallery where I could post my work without anyone I knew seeing it. It was my own little world, free from judgment. Slowly, something amazing started to happen. People started following me. First a dozen, then 100, then 1,000. They left comments not of ridicule, but of encouragement. They saw things in my work that I was too afraid to see myself. They saw the passion, the story, the very things Mr. Harrison had dismissed as noise. One day, I got an email from a small, independent gallery in a trendy part of the city. They had seen my Instagram and wanted to know if I had any larger pieces. They were interested in offering me a solo exhibition. A solo exhibition. Me, the person who wasn't meant to be an artist. I was terrified, but the flicker of that old spark had grown into a steady flame. I said yes. For the next 6 months, I lived a double life. By day, I was a mild-mannered office worker. By night, I was a whirlwind of creative energy, surrounded by canvases and the familiar, comforting smell of paint. I was painting for myself again, but this time, it was different. I wasn't painting to prove someone wrong. I was painting because it was who I was. And I finally, dug out that old, crumpled canvas from the back of my closet. I stretched it, repaired it, and began to rework it. It wasn't about fixing it. It was about finishing the conversation I had started all those years ago. The night of the exhibition opening was surreal. The gallery was packed. People were standing in front of my paintings, talking about them, connecting with them. I felt a mix of overwhelming joy and crippling anxiety. And then, I saw him. Across the crowded room, a much older, grayer version of Mr. Harrison was standing in front of my reworked high school painting. He was leaning on a cane, his face etched with a look I couldn't quite decipher. My heart pounded in my chest. This was it, the moment of truth. I took a deep breath and walked over to him. "Mr. Harrison?" I said, my voice barely a whisper. He turned, and a flash of recognition crossed his eyes. He looked from me to the painting, then back to me. He was silent for a long moment, just studying the piece. My old insecurities flared up. I braced myself for another cutting remark, but instead, he just shook his head slowly. "I remember this. he said, his voice softer, raspier than I remembered. I remember the boy who painted it. He looked at me, and for the first time, I didn't see a cruel critic. I just saw an old man. I was wrong, he said. I was a bitter, frustrated man who had given up on his own dreams, and I took it out on my students, especially the ones who showed real promise. He pointed to the painting. I called this noise, he said, a sad smile on his lips. But it's not noise. It's passion. It's life. I was just too deaf to hear the music. He looked me straight in the eye. I am truly sorry. And in that moment, all the anger, all the resentment I had carried for years, just melted away. Vengeance wasn't standing there, gloating over my success. True victory was forgiving the person who had hurt me, and more importantly, forgiving myself for ever believing him. We talked for a little while longer. He told me he'd retired a few years after I graduated, and that seeing my name on the gallery flyer had made him curious. My journey wasn't about proving Mr. Harrison wrong. It was about proving to myself that I was right to believe in my own voice. Don't ever let anyone, no matter how much authority they seem to have, define your worth or your potential. Your passion is not noise. It is the most beautiful music you can make. Keep playing it, loud and clear. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share this part of my story with you. If you've ever had a similar experience, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. Keep creating.